Hi students, welcome back to the online English classes. I am Madhuparna ma'am and today we will continue with our discussion on the second chapter of the fourth unit from your NCERT book. In the last video, we had an introductory session of the chapter My Elder Brother. And like I said, today we are going to begin the discussion of the text, and that is why this video has been named as the part 1. And there will be subsequent parts of this which will be uploaded later on. So, without wasting much time, let us begin our chapter. Okay, so this is the first page. This is the half portion of the first page of this chapter. And at the very beginning, there is scene 1. Okay, now students, I have already told you that this chapter has been divided into 3 scenes. All right, and today we are going to discuss about the first one. So in the first scene, what you can see, there is a hostel room. All right, now what is a hostel room? A hostel is a place where young people can stay cheaply for short periods when they are traveling or studying with shared rooms. All right. So cheaply means for low cost. Okay. And as you can see in the picture, there is a room and there are 4 beds. All right. So 4 people can live in this particular room. All right. So this is what a hostel is. And I don't think you people are very familiar with hostel life. But when you grow up, when you will, if any of you are going for engineering or for MBBS or for any other course for which you cannot stay at home, you have to move out. Then in that case, you'll have to live in a hostel. All right. So these 2 brothers about whom we are going to talk, these brothers are also living in a hostel room. All right, students. Now see, 2 pictures have been placed side by side. The brothers are, as you can easily understand, one is Bhaiya and one is Munna. Here, Bhaiya has many books opened in front of him. There is a globe in front of him. He has a pencil in his hand. On the other hand, Munna is drawing something. Yes, he has a drawing copy, a brush is there. All right, he is drawing. Now, let us move on to the scene. A hostel room. 2 brothers, aged 9 and 14, sitting at a study table. So, who is 9 years old? Munna is 9 years old and Bhaiya is 14 years old. Alright, and they are sitting at their study table. The elder brother, Bhaiya, is reading a book and the younger one, Munna, is drawing pictures of birds and animals. We can already see it from the picture. Yes? Now, you see, Bhaiya and Munna are talking to each other. So the first statement is by Bhaiya. Bhaiya is asking, "What are you doing, Munna?" Munna is saying, "I'm drawing." "When will you study? Where were you in the morning?" So you see, Bhaiya is quite angry. All right. So he's asking his brother that when will he study? Where was he in the morning? Listening to all this, Munna, what is written there? Turning pale. Okay. Now what is the meaning of turning pale? Let us see. Okay, so pale means it is something that is used to describe a person's face if it has less color than usual. For example, when the person is ill or frightened. All right. Now, students, when you are doing something mischievous, all right, when you are being naughty, if you are doing something hidden from your parents, and then if your parents catch you, all right, while you are doing that, what will be your reaction? You will be very scared. You will be very frightened. And it does happen to human bodies. Whenever a human is very ill or frightened or, there is some kind of a problem going on, the person turns pale. They lose their actual color. Okay. So Munna also turned pale when Bhaiya asked him this question. So you see, Munna is saying, "I was playing, Bhaiya, how can you sit with a book for hours together? Now, students, you must be wondering that Munna has also said the words turning pale. But no, that is not the case. Turning pale has been put in brackets because that is an information that has been provided to the readers. That is not what Munna is saying. That is something that is happening to Munna. Alright. So what was Munna's answer? He's saying, I was playing. But Bhaiya, how can you sit with the book for hours together? So what do we understand from this? That Bhaiya is a very studious boy. Alright. So listening to this, Bhaiya is saying, that's because I want my foundation in education to be very strong. Alright, let us see what foundation means. Now, what is foundation? It is the structure below the surface of the ground that supports a building. Alright, I think many of you must have witnessed this. If you have seen any house being built, do you see that the house comes all of a sudden? No, it does not, because there are many steps which are needed to make a house. And the very first step of building a house is to lay its foundation. Alright, and the picture at the back, you can see there is a cemented structure, a square-like structure with some iron rods, in it. So that is a foundation. So when Bhaiya is saying that I want my foundation in education to be strong, he means that he wants his base to be very strong. If his foundation is not strong, then how will his education later in life, how will he succeed if he is not working hard from his young age? Okay, that is what Bhaiya means. So you just have to see that just like a building needs a foundation to stand strong, similarly, education also needs a strong foundation. And this is why Bhaiya is working hard for it. And what does he say again? If the base is strong, then the building will stand firmly. Alright, so base is also like foundation. So if the foundation or the base is very strong, then the building will stand firmly on it. Now let us see what firmly means. Alright, the word firmly means in a way that will not become loose. Alright, so you can see in the picture both the hands are holding each other in a firm manner. Okay, they will not let their grip become loose. Alright, so firmly means when you are doing something very tightly, very strongly, when you are not letting it go loose, that means you are doing it in a firm way, in a firm manner. Alright students, now see there are two pictures. One is that of a base, another is that of a building. So, the base is what we do not get to see. And the building is something that we get to see. Base is very much needed for a building to be strong, because if a base is not strong, then there is no point of having a tall building. Alright, and all these skyscrapers that you get to see these days, you must have noticed, while traveling in trains or in vehicles, you must have seen that nowadays the height of the buildings are increasing and increasing. Alright, so for all those buildings have a very strong base, and if the base is not strong, it is not possible for the building to stand firmly on the ground. Alright, now what is Bhaiya saying? He says, sometimes it takes me 2 years to do 1 year's work. So just imagine the amount of hard work that he has to do. Yes, for 1 year's work, whatever effort you all give for 1 year, that he has to give for 2 more years. Alright, for 2 years he has to give the same effort to get the result of 1 year. So he is a very hardworking boy. Alright, now hearing this, Munna says, Bhaiya, you are 5 years older than I am and 3 classes ahead of me. Alright, now you see, as we already saw in the beginning of the chapter, Munna is 9 years old and Bhaiya is 14 years old. So if you do the subtraction, you'll get 5. So the age difference between these two boys is of 5 years. Alright, so what is he saying? That Bhaiya is 5 years older than him and still he is only 3 classes ahead of him. He should be 5 classes ahead. Yes, every year for each class. Yes, but in this case, Bhaiya is 3 classes ahead. I wonder why you keep writing the same word 20 times, one sentence more than 20 times, and copy poems several times in beautiful letters. Alright, because now you see, I think you are able to understand that Bhaiya is somebody who loves to work very hard. Alright, and maybe because he is not very bright, that is why he is putting so much of effort. All right, he writes the same word 20 times. Just imagine when your teachers ask you to write one word for 10 times, then only you become so very lethargic and you become so very, you get tired. All right, but this boy, he not just writes same word 20 times, he writes one sentence more than 20 times and copies poems several times in beautiful handwriting. All right, now what is Bhaiya saying to this? Studying English is no child's play. All right, now what is the meaning of this child's play? Let us see. Alright, so child's play is something that is very easy to do. So when Bhaiya is saying that English is no child's play, it means that it is not something that is very easy to do. Okay, so Bhaiya considers English to be a very difficult language. Okay, so when he's saying, studying English is no child's play, one has to work very hard in order to learn the subject. Now, you all can relate to this because English is really a very tricky subject. Once you get hold of it, then it will become very easy. But then when you have not yet got hold of the subject properly, it is a bit difficult. All right, so English is no child's play. It is not something that is easy to do. One has to work very hard to understand and learn the subject. Okay, to speak or write properly, tremendous effort is required. So what Bhaiya actually does, he is saying the same thing. He is saying that in order to speak English or to write English, one has to give a lot of effort. Tremendous effort is required. Let us see what tremendous means. You see, the word tremendous means very great in amount or level. So when Bhaiya is saying that tremendous effort is needed to learn English properly, that means a great amount of effort, a huge level of effort is required. Now you see in the picture, there is a person who's jumping and he has taken such a high jump. All right. So it can be said that it is a tremendous jump. This is a jump which is of a huge level. All right. And what is effort? Effort is any kind of physical or mental activity that is needed to achieve something. All right. So you see this picture that you can see in the background here, a boy is using his physical effort to push the cycle upwards. All right. But in the chapter, my elder brother, we are not talking about physical effort. We are talking about mental effort. All right. The effort that Bhaiya is giving to learn English properly. All right. So after Bhaiya says that he needs to give a lot of effort to speak or write English properly, he says, but the moment you get a chance, you run to the field, play marbles and fly paper kites, or sit idling away with friends for fun. All right, so there is a lot of information now that we are going to get about Munna. All right, so Munna is somebody, whenever he gets a chance, he runs to the field, all right, to play outside. He plays with marbles, marbles, what are marbles? And he also flies paper kites, or he's sitting idle, all right, with his friends for fun. Let us see the meaning of the word idling away. All right, students. So you see the word idling comes from the word idle, which means having no work or being without any work. In this picture, this boy is not doing anything. He's just laying down on the couch and he's having rest. All right. So Munna also does that. He just does nothing and spends time with his friends. That is what has been called as idling away. And at last he says, Can't you sit down and study? So you see, students, Bhaiya is somebody who just cannot understand how Munna can be so very unserious about his studies, how he can spend so much time in playing and wasting his time. And on the other hand, Munna is also unable to understand how his brother can sit together for so many hours just for studying. All right. So these are the two brothers, and today we are going to do only till here. All right. In the next video, we will discuss about the next part of the chapter. Now that we have already done the first part, let us see some of the differences that these two brothers have, Bhaiya and Munna. Bhaiya is 14-year-old, whereas Munna is 9 years old. Alright, Bhaiya spends time in studies, whereas Munna spends time in playing. Bhaiya is very serious about education, whereas Munna is not at all serious about education. And finally, we saw that Bhaiya is a very hardworking boy, whereas Munna is a naughty one and a very mischievous boy. Now, let us have a look at some questions. Okay, so these questions are very easy ones and you are supposed to write these on your own. Number 1 is, what is the source of my elder brother? Number 2, name the two brothers in the story. Number 3, according to Bhaiya, what is required to write English properly? Number 4, when given a chance, what are the things that Munna does? Alright, and if you are unable to answer these questions, read the first part of the chapter very thoroughly and also go through the video once more. Now, let us have a quick recap of all the things that we have learned in the first part of My Elder Brother. At first, we saw that Munna and Bhaiya live in a hostel, alright, where Bhaiya is a very serious boy. He is very serious about his education, and Munna is a mischievous boy who loves to play instead of studying. And at last, we also discussed that Bhaiya thinks, according to Bhaiya, studying English is no child's play because it requires a lot of effort. Alright, students, with this we come to the end of our discussion on the first part of My Elder Brother. The next part of the chapter will be discussed in the subsequent videos. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.